Welcome to The Collective, where every conversation ignites a new perspective. Join us as we delve into the journeys of remarkable individuals, explore the art of growth, resilience, and the power of a shared mission as we strive to be better together. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Gold Mine. We have another fantastic show for you planned out today. I am very excited. We got Darren here for his first time, and I am stoked. Now, while I am stoked, you should be too. Like the show, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, do all that good stuff. Get your emails when we go live, which is, of course, Wednesdays for The Gold Mine and Fridays for The Collective. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, anything at all, put them up in the comment section. We can hit those throughout the show. And of course, if you are not yet, make sure you are signed up for the Reinforcement Loop. That is our weekly newsletter. It goes out every Sunday, gives you a little piece of what we do here, as well as some brain candy to chew on throughout the week. Other than that, let's get right into our topic and guest. So Darren, give us a quick 10 to 15 seconds. Who are you? Where you come from? All that good stuff. Hit us up.
Yeah, Darren Mitchell. Did 4 years in the reserves in the infantry. And then I got into the RCMP, did 20 years in the RCMP. 11 of those years, I was on the emergency response team. 8 of those were full-time, and 3 of those, I was the team leader. So now I'm retired.
I love it. And looking good in a cowboy hat, I may add. Always
now
good
I'm
to have
cowboy.
you. Now you're a cowboy. I love it. Sean, how's the mountain treating you?
Things are good. Looking forward to see where the conversation goes. That is quite a hat, by the way. How many gallons is that? I don't know my hats, but it looks like at least a 10-gallon.
You know what? I got this hat custom made by Vern Elliott, who's one of the best cowboy hat makers in Canada. I got it for Christmas. So
how'd you come on to that then? So
he lives down here in Nanton.
Okay. And is he well known throughout Canada?
Vern Elliott? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Chance, do you know the guy?
Oh, yeah.
Or
yeah,
how come you don't have a 10 bucket?
I was like, I know exactly what kind of hat that is.
Oh, really?
Very nice. Yeah. They're quite famous in the cowboy circles, and they are handmade, custom to your head. They are works of art pieces that are they're not cheap either.
Dude, cheap. Especially Chance, you'd need a 15-gallon.
At least 20.
All of the hat material it'd be twice as much as Darren's.
For sure. I got to ask then, Darren, is it beaver felt?
Yes.
Yes, it is. There you go. See, and that's where all the money goes. Those things are pricey.
I won't tell you how much it costs, but
yeah,
a lot of people out there might know how much felt hat.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know to guess. So, Darren, don't tell us the cost of your hat, because that might be ratting you out or someone out who whatever. I don't even want to know the deal on that one. But on a general basis, not your hat, but someone else's hat, what would that hat cost?
From Vern Elliott?
Yeah.
$1,000.
Okay. All right.
Easy. Yeah.
All right. So it's not like it's not out of range. I mean, if you like a good hat, let's say $1,000 for a hat, and you're going to wear it at least 20 years, that's not terrible. Hey, it's $50 a year. No big deal.
Yeah. Well, he's got lifetime guarantee on them too.
Right.
So.
There you go. Nice. Right on.
Yeah. They're investments, and like an average hat, if you were to go to Lamley's and want to buy like a nicer hat from Lamley's, it'd be $200-$300. But if you want a custom hat, you're looking at $1,000 plus. And depending on what you want on it and what you want it made out of, et cetera, starts to go from there. And your level of customization can be pretty extensive. So I just want to hit on these comments real quick. Dan C. jumped in and said, "Good morning, gentlemen. Good to see you, Dan." Catherine Hirschfeld, "Good morning from the coast of Washington State." Good to see you, Catherine. She says, "Beautiful hats." I like mine too. It's very nice. Dan C. beats my CCM hat. Yeah. Catherine, a good hat is worth it. It's like custom boots. Yeah, absolutely. You get good boots, good hat, good gear. It will last you forever. Now, quick little segue here. Oh, I got another one. Sorry. Littlefoot. Those Richardson hats Blackbird uses are great. Yeah, there you go.
They are.
I really quite enjoy them. I want to get into the topic, gratitude. I'm very grateful for this hat. There's only 50 of them that got made, something like that.
Was it only 50?
I think it was only 50. So we're rarities doubling it up here today. I want to get right into gratitude, and right off the bat, when you got the email, Darren, what was your first thoughts on how would you explain gratitude? What do you got?
First off, I was very grateful, as cliche as this may sound, but I was very grateful to be afforded the opportunity to be on your guys' show. I know you guys both have extensive backgrounds, and while we're on that topic, I'm grateful for your service and I appreciate you both. But yeah, I was grateful to be afforded the opportunity to be on your guys' show. It was the first thing that came to my mind. But
I dig it. Sean, how about yourself? First thoughts?
That was nice. Thank you, Darren. Not too many people say that. I think sometimes they might say it before they come in the show, but let's see if you're saying it after the show. Gratitude. Geez, I guess the first thing that came to mind when I saw the show topic was I now know way more about gratitude than I knew just a few years ago, that's for sure. And I mean, like, even as recently as 12 months ago, my definition of gratitude has changed. And it's not because I'm in a constant pursuit of trying to better understand the word itself or the practice of. It's because my circle of influence, Darren is an example, even though we are only recently new to each other, getting to know each other a little bit. Like the very fact that he came in and said what he just said helps me better understand gratitude. And that's not me pursuing my understanding of gratitude. That is now my peripheral, my satellite, the world that surrounds me is helping me understand gratitude in almost a passive way now, rather than me having to pursue the understanding of it. So, 12 months ago, my conversation on this topic would have been different than it's going to be today.
Yeah, and this is I think the third episode we've done on gratitude since we started. And every time we do it, it changes not only the definition, but how it applies to our lives. Like I've noticed myself after the last episode, I started to use gratitude as a tool rather than just kind of like, oh, I feel grateful for this moment. Check. And now it becomes a tool when I start to get, if I start to find myself being selfish, or I start to find myself being bitter or envious in any way, I start to go, no, wait a second. What am I grateful for in this moment? And it allows me to sidestep some of those negative emotions, which is a key thing to this. Now I'm going to hit you guys with the original etymology of gratitude, because it goes back to Proto-Indo-European, a root word of guerra, meaning to favor, which I think is an interesting angle to this, because to favor something means that it is enjoyable in and of itself. Any thoughts on that, Darren? What do you think?
yeah, to favor, I mean, you could go on that a bunch of different ways, right? But to favor something and not be grateful for it can be good and bad, right? Depends on what you are favoring. So I'll stick to the good stuff. But being grateful for all the things that people will generally say, being grateful for your family, being grateful for your wife or your husband, your kids, all that stuff is one thing. But being grateful to yourself, one of my biggest things that I've learned in the last couple of years is if you don't truly love yourself, you can't truly love or appreciate or be grateful for anybody else, right? So I'm going to go on the self-care, self-love, and being grateful for yourself and treating yourself with respect. I know a lot of us out there are struggling with different things, right? PTSD, major depression disorder, you name it. But gratitude is huge for me, and it's a huge tool that I use every day before I go to bed and when I wake up in the morning. So before I go to bed, I usually try to journal what I'm grateful for. And I usually try to include one thing about myself. Did I get a win today? What was that win? And I'm grateful for that win. And when I wake up in the morning, a lot of people might wake up and be like, oh, feel like shit. Sorry. Or I don't feel like getting out of bed. Your day is going to be not good if you start your day like that. So it's waking up in the morning, changing the narrative, and telling yourself today's going to be a great day and I'm going to make it a great day.
I like that. Change the narrative. It's a great way to put it. Sean, any thoughts?
I do. I got one thought, but I'm going to blast through it really quick because I want to get back to something that Darren said and then maybe focus on that a little bit more. So I'm going to change tact or track after my initial comment. So you'd said favor, and I like that, man. I didn't look up the etymology, but one of the interesting things about to favor means that you then have to categorize. If you to favor, if you take it to its extreme, it's then defining what is your favorite. And so through creating favor or prioritizing what's number one, what's number 10, as it were, that helps you prioritize your levels of gratitude. Because I think that something that society as a whole right now is taking the word gratitude, and it's not like the flavor of the month or the flavor of the year, but it's getting a lot of push from be grateful, show some gratitude, attitude of gratitude, and all of that good stuff. And I think that's been going on for a while to a point where now the word itself has just become a general word. Like gratitude almost doesn't have a meaning. It's just like a buzz phrase for you to like kind of snap into, oh yeah, I'm supposed to feel something about this moment. But when you use the word favor chance, that to me should have a person categorizing or delineating their levels of gratitude. No? All right. So then we're taking that general word of gratitude and having someone almost obligated to determine what am I most grateful for? What am I perhaps least grateful for? And by least, I don't mean like you hate it. I mean, it's just not as gratifying as the highest gratitude. So just want to throw that out there, that the word itself, not that it's being diluted, it's just being commodified into this general term that doesn't have a whole lot of meaning nowadays. Now I'm going to switch tact. I want to go to something that Darren had said. And, we've talked about it in the past, and we've had lots of guests that have talked about how they will journal to increase or enhance their understanding of gratitude, along with a number of other things. So he's doing it before he goes to sleep, and then maybe he's doing some sort of gratitude practice when he gets up. Now to my question. Darren, when you started initially moving through that practice or getting used to that practice, were you, I won't use the term resentful, but were you like not enjoying it, or were you not digging it, or were you not into it, or were you like struggling with it? Because I did, and I know others have, and I want to know if you did as well.
Yeah, when I first, I've been through quite a few struggles and whatnot in my time. And when I first started it, I felt like it was a task, if you will, or it was something that just needed to be checked off, like a check in the box. Until I started realizing how powerful gratitude and being grateful for the things that you truly do have in your life, how impactful that was. Right? So when I kind of broke through that barrier, I really started appreciating it a little bit more. Well, quite a bit more. But yeah, no, right off the bat, no, I felt it was just another task that whoever was telling me to do, right? The psychologists or the doctors or and it was foreign to me. It was totally foreign to me when I first started doing it.
I have a question on this now, and I agree with you because I've done a little bit of journaling as well, and it was homework. I had to get through it, right? I had just, okay, write something. But you said something there that I want to leap on immediately. Being grateful for what you have. And it just occurred to me that perhaps it's not even understanding what you have, but it's being grateful for what you've created in your, like, this is your life that you've developed. This is our how we live, and the stuff we have right now is of our making. It's of our doing. We've put ourselves in the position we are. And so perhaps the gratitude isn't so much for the possession of the thing, but it's for the fact that we've created it. Any thoughts on that? I'm going to come right back to you, Darren. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's with your guys' background and my background, I mean, we've seen people at their worst, right? So understanding that what each of us has is a direct reflection of what we've done, what we've accomplished, and what we've earned, it makes you a little bit more grateful for it, right? Like the way things are nowadays, like you're not really handed anything on a silver spoon, right? Like you have to go out there and work. You have to go out there and earn money. You have to go out there and work hard to get what you want. And I'm not saying all the nice things like trucks and houses and all that stuff, but building a family or building relationships with friends that truly mean something is huge for me. Building a loving family.
And I'm in the same boat. I'm tracking exactly what you're saying. It's the amount of work that goes into it is part of, I think, understanding the gratitude of it, at least in my mind. Sean, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, there's a lot of commonality between what Darren just said and you just said in respect to tying a profession to a family, as it were. I'm loosely tying those two things together to make a point, and that is, if you work really hard in your career and you accomplish a lot that you're proud of, and I use the term loosely proud, perhaps there's other words that a person can inject in there that makes them feel like, that was worthy, that was righteous, that was worth my life, that was worth my time, that was worth my energy. And so if you can do that in a career and you can do that in a family, and ultimately the two of them show positive net outcomes, then you did something right. But that's rarely how life goes. Like you can pour yourself into a career righteously, you can pour yourself into a family righteously, and it can all go sideways. In fact, it can go in opposite directions. And so then what do you do with that? Like, you feel like you did the right thing, you're Mr. Righteous, and then it's hard to be grateful for the extremes that are going in the other directions. You're left in the middle, holding an empty hat, a 10-gallon hat, by the way. And so then what? Like, what's to be grateful for there? Because I know guys and girls who face that more than once in their life. And so it's hard sometimes to be in the silence, in the neutral zone, after a body of work where you feel like you're looking into an empty hat. So then where do you find gratitude in that? Like, I can answer that question easily right now, but I'm curious as to your thoughts, because, really the purpose of this show is not for us to like just put out our thoughts like we're doing our homework. We're putting out our thoughts to encourage others to think about these thoughts. That is the homework. It's not our homework, it's everyone's homework as we throw out these things. So, thoughts to you guys. What about that uncomfortable neutral zone where you're looking into your empty hat?
That's
a great question. Darren, you want to start us off?
That's a tough one, yeah. Because I've been there, man. Like, I have to start by just saying I can't thank my wife enough for holding on as long as she did and still is. But yeah, I was in that spot, right? Where my career, I was married to my career, right? When you look at it, I was married to my phone, my work phone, and I was gone all the time. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but she stuck with it. And, even though she stuck with it, I've recently found myself in that deep, dark hole, that extremely deep, dark hole where you're looking up at a light and no one's throwing you a ladder to get out of it. So yeah, at those points in time, how do you start grasping and reaching and climbing out of there with gratitude when you feel in your own mind, I've ruined everything? What can I possibly be grateful for? And from my perspective, it's about starting small. I'm grateful I was able to wake up this morning. I'm grateful that I'm alive this morning. I'm grateful to have food on the table. Like, you know what I mean? Start small. Don't start grasping at the big things that you're grateful for. And just start slowly climbing yourself out of that deep, dark hole with gratitude. Because there's so many things to be grateful for in our lives, even when we feel like we're in that deep, dark hole and nothing's worked out and we feel like maybe we've ruined everything and failed at everything. Start little with gratitude.
Small wins. I like it.
Small
The to answer your question, Sean, and I remember, and to your point as well, Darren, is the that deep dark hole. There are going to be days that you wake up and you're not grateful to wake up. You're going to go, again. Like, I really did not want to wake up today. But to your point, you got to find the things that you have to actively find the things that you favor. Going back to the etymology of it, which is the sun on your face, or the smile of your kids, or the smell of something. Like, you have to actively go and seek those things to find gratitude in those moments. So when you're sitting there and you have an empty hat and the sun's bearing down on you, and like you're in the desert of woe. Well, at least you have a hat, right? Okay, sweet. I have a hat. I can cover my face a little bit and I can start working from there. Same deal as go small wins. But I think the act of seeking them is the benefit. That's where you start to see your gratitude move from there. What do you do, Sean? Because I know you've been there too.
Yeah, it's a great conversation, and I don't want to like make it all dark and gloomy, but we do have to kind of start from one end of the spectrum and work towards the other end of the spectrum. And if we're starting in this spot where you're at your worst, we'll call it. You guys have got the right answers. Start small. Look for tiny ways to reach out and grab something that is a small win or a small pleasure or a small joy, small happiness, a small light. That's certainly a great way to start. But like as you wake up and you get out of bed and you're looking for that small win, they don't always show up. And so something that I said to Clay, Conscious Clay, Clay Surratt, he was just on the podcast recently, and we were back and forth in DMs, and he was doing something fairly legit. And I said, I just hit him with a quick one-liner, and it was along the lines of, what's the effect of the greatest trials create the greatest man, or the harder the task, the harder the man. That kind of theme. And so the exact quote that I sent to him, after I sent it to him, I thought, that's a pretty legit quote that I just threw at him. I wonder who said that in history. And so I hit ChatGPT 5.0, and then I hit one of my other large language models. As it turns out, the precise wording that I'd sent to Clay, no one's ever said it in history, at least not on record. And so does that make the statement even more impactful? No. What I'm making a point on is every problem that you've got in front of you has an original solution that you can create yourself in your own mind. Don't feel like just because you haven't got it figured out and no one else has told you how to figure it out, that it is unfigurable. Every quote that you've ever read that's made an impact on you, you've got a quote inside of you that is original to impact others. So your life, in essence, is here for a reason to make an impact. Maybe you just haven't found that impact yet. that is more deeply resonant with who you are as a soulful person. All of that aside, as you're standing there wondering what to do, I think one of the things that you really can tell yourself is, man, the greater the problem, the greater I'll be when it's all said and done. And I don't want to make a claim to we're all supposed to live our lives to become great. Becoming great is a result of a process that I don't think you're supposed to focus on to be great. You just focus on the process, and the process will make you great, whatever that means to you. So the harder the path, the harder the man. The greater the task, the greater the man. Standing in the middle of nowhere all by yourself is a great place to start to find new friends, to find new tasks, to find new ways, to redevelop a life that is challenging enough that you'll be proud of it in generation 2.0 of your life, generation 3.0 of your life. Every time someone is in the hurt locker, it's a great opportunity for them to realize that they get a reset, restart. But no one really thinks that way, because I think the message that society passes along is, dude, you're in the deep, dark hole. Good luck. Hope you make it. Wow, that sucks. Geez, what a struggle. But it's never spun in the sense of, well, you can't get any lower, so let's frickin' go. Let's get after it. Let's win. Generation 2.0, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it makes me think of who do we root for in battles? And it's usually the underdog. It's right. The bigger the task, the bigger the win. It's the come from behind victory. It's the bigger team getting beaten by the smaller underdeveloped. You know what I mean? Like, it's always what we seek is actually in that struggle. I think you're right, Sean. And on top of that, the thing that we should be cheering for is those people in those moments of just like, it's not so much that we should say, oh, well, man, you got your work cut out for you. Have fun. But we should be sitting in the stands
we don't even cheer for ourselves. We don't cheer for the guy. Yep. And we don't cheer for ourselves. And you know what it reminds me of? And I've said this on the podcast before. It's the scene from Troy, I believe. It's Achilles, Brad Pitt in his magnificence, all his hair. He looks down at the squire there and says, that's why nobody will ever remember your name. Because, old Brad was about to go out there and slay the giant. And the helper of the day was like, oh, man, you're in for it. I'm glad I'm not you. I'm glad I'm not you. And as he looks down at that person, he's thinking, I'm glad I'm not you. And so looking up and looking down, both of them are thinking, I'm glad I'm not you. But to me, it all comes down to whether you're looking up or looking down is neither here nor there. The statement is, and that's why no one will ever remember your name. I don't want to be remembered forever, but I also don't want to subscribe to like a non-existent life or a life that didn't leave a mark, at least for me. So if we're all supposed to be remembered to some degree, if only by our dog, then it takes effort. That's my point.
I dig it. I got a couple of comments here, and then I want to get into one of the videos that I brought into this. So, quick one. Dan C jumped in here. He said, "We've seen people at their worst, but very few see us at our worst because we've had to be strong for others. I'm grateful that I learned my very worst. It provided me with the empathy to be better." And I think this goes to what you're saying as well, and the fact of like those struggles, those challenges, those deep dark holes. They provide us the opportunity to become that person, as you're saying, Sean. I just love that. Then Catherine Hirschfeld jumped in. He said, when I lost my 47-year-old son in May 2024, I was so angry at God. Now, a year and a half later, I'm trying to turn that around and have gratitude that I had my son for 47 years. Hard stuff. And yes, it absolutely is tough. But I think that's the attitude. We have to be grateful for the time we have. And in terms of loss, one of the sayings that I've taken from from Judaism as a whole, one of the things that we say is, may their memory be a blessing. And I think that key line for me is what I've tried to hold on to for a lot of stuff. So when I am in those negative spirals, I look for what memories are my blessings. What are the things that I can take out of this whole tornado of the storm of my own head? What are the things that I can look at as blessings? Darren, you got any thoughts on any of this?
Yeah, totally. Back to what Sean was saying, that self-gratitude, which I kind of touched on earlier, is huge, right? And it's not being selfish. It's not being arrogant or anything like that, but you got to have self-gratitude sometimes to get yourself through those stormy days, right? And yeah, my best friend unfortunately took his own life to PTSD last April. He was a firefighter with Winnipeg Fire Department for 18 years and suffered in silence. And it was a huge blow and a huge struggle that I know a lot of people have dealt with, unfortunately. But I like that. It's let their legacy live on. You know?
I like that a lot. Sean, you got any other thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want to jump on the acronym bus just to make points, but of course I've said that I was diagnosed with PTSD, and the moment that I found that out, within about 3 seconds, I said, okay, good. Now I know what it is. Now I can get to work. I can start using it as a lever. And, that's really the key in life. I feel that whatever you've got, whatever affliction, whatever problem, whatever challenge, whatever obstacle, whatever it is that you got in your life, as my wife used to say a lot to me, several years ago. She says it far less now because maybe I've improved my attitude of gratitude. But I used to hear that a lot, attitude of gratitude, have an attitude of gratitude. Like sometimes I was hearing it once a day. I don't hear it quite as much anymore. And so if you're hearing something a lot in your life, like if you're hearing it once a day from randos and from your family and et cetera, there's probably a pattern. And, when you're hearing attitude of gratitude, enough that you're like, attitude of gratitude, you freaking said that earlier, it probably means something.
Yeah.
And so that ain't the universe sometimes, that's just your wife. So don't turn it into a woo-woo moment where the universe is sending you messages if you've heard that message 8 times today. That ain't a message from the universe. That's a message that you've really got to bear down and start paying attention to from your family. But the subtle messages of the universe is what I'm going to refer to now. And that is, if you can gain just a little bit of gratitude throughout your day, you'll start to see it almost like begin an order of magnitude change. And it's almost like you've got to not gamble or have faith, but you have to try to engage in some gratitude. Just try. And that try usually uncovers like really unusually unsuspected ways of, oh my goodness, I really do dig that, or I really am grateful for that. Oh, wow, I didn't know they appreciated this about me, etc. So by being grateful for life, you'll find that life is kind of grateful for you.
I like that a lot. Quick little comment here. Catherine jumped in here, said, telling their stories and the memory of them, those that we've lost, keeps them alive. And yeah, absolutely. This is the principle behind Remembrance Day, right?
Yes. Hang on a sec. Sorry, I don't want to jump on that because I know that's not Catherine's message, but something that we have said in the past that I want to be careful with is, as we remember their names and as we remember their lives, remember their memories, we've got to keep a good balance between remembering them versus ruminating on them, or versus being so attached to their memory that we can't move forward, where we're not using their memory in a positive way. We're using it to keep us trapped in the past or keep us trapped in the negative. So I do believe that any of these memories that we have, as we are grateful for them in our lives, they're to be used as positive building blocks, not keeping us trapped in the negative.
Not drowning in grief, if you will.
That's a great way to put it. I was thinking of, this is a little analogy that has kicked in my head, and I'm going to throw it at you guys, and then I got a video real quick. That memories are bricks, and a brick can just as easily drown you as build a house. And it's up to us to what are we going to do with it, right? Are we just going to sit there and walk into the lake, or are we going to start building our foundations on it? And I think that's a key
Which is
point
great.
there.
I love the analogy. However, just want to be clear from a science perspective that that memory that you have that's called a house brick, it's actually made out of sand and it's constantly shifting. It's highly
Yeah,
malleable. And
for
then
sure.
today versus a year from now, that brick is a different shape, different color, different length, all of the good stuff. So memory is not a house brick. It is sand. And the sand pile that you built today is your foundation. And so build carefully.
You use the sand to make a brick. Let's put it that way, and then go from there. All right, so let's jump in on one of these videos I got here, and it just goes into our capacity, like how much our mindset affects things. So here we go.
I can do anything good. I like my school. I like anything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunts. I like my Allisons. I like my moms. I like my sisters. I like my hair. I like my haircuts. I like my pajamas. I like my stuff. I like my rooms. I like my whole house. Yeah.
So I want to throw that down, and I'm going to throw it right to you guys. What do you think about it, Darren?
Yeah, I always kind of say, like, the most powerful computer in the world is the human brain, is in my opinion, right? And it can be powerful in so many different ways, right? Whether it be down a negative path or up a positive path. But when you talk of gratitude, like what that little girl was doing there, right? She was pumping herself up. She was being grateful for all the things, right? So gratitude is such a huge tool that can bring you up if your computer is bringing you down, right? Through negative thoughts or negative intuitions or whatever, right? Like, I mean, we've all seen it. I know I live it a lot, right? Like, your brain can take you down a deep, dark path. But what that little girl did there was incredible, right? She started spouting off all the things that she liked and in turn was grateful for. And that will start to boost you back up. It's a fight. It's that internal fight with yourself.
I take it. The positive reinforcement is such a key aspect in anything that we do. And Sean, what do you got? I know you got something.
I do. It's not that I'm going to tear that little girl down. I'm just going to throw a different spin on it. So, to your point, Darren, supercomputer is the brain. And if that's the hardware, then the software is how we program that hardware. And so the software in that little girl's case is still a very immature software operating system. It's basically Windows 95. And her parents are working on Windows 11. And so the software of that kid versus the parents, two radically different things. But interestingly enough, as she was working through her immature software process, all she was doing was inventorying. I like my dad, I like my mom, I like my car, I like my swing, I like my dog, I like my house, I like my roof, I like my whatever. Inventory. But at no point did she ever inventory. I like my sensitive nature. I like my inner peace. I like my sense of humility. I love that my dad is strong but patient. So you get the point.
Yeah.
Inventory is often a way that people will establish their worth through, I've got a roof, I've got a dog, I've got a car. But that's got no value. Those are all, they'll be gone in a day. They'll be gone at the end of your life. They'll all go. But what you do have forever is the sense of yourself, the sense of if you are a loving person, if you're a hateful person, if you're a feeling an emotion. And then if we want to step away from emotions, we can start focusing on, are you righteous? Are you Darth Vader? So there's many ways that we can think about ourselves within the inventorying process that is not just software based or hardware based. It's like the fundamental principles of why you design an operating system. And so that's what I'm most interested in, is the much deeper consideration of that little girl. And like, I'm playing it out in my head, and that moment isn't going to last forever for that little girl, because depending on how her software operating system is manipulated by the world and how it's misunderstood by her internally, it can go in all kinds of different directions, which we can all imagine. But that moment is fraught with danger if any viewer just views it as it's the inventory is the win. I got a dog, I got a roof, I'm winning. I have gratitude. Whoop. But that isn't true. That isn't true. That gratitude will turn into something much different and not positive once the dog dies, if your gratitude is only wrapped around the dog, the object, rather than the love for the dog, which when the dog passes away, the love is still there for the dog, the deeper understanding of why you like the object. And so that's my thought, Chance. Throwing it back to you guys, see where it goes.
I like it. I wrote down here that inventory can be lost. You can, the house can burn down. You can be robbed of your wallet, of your stuff, of that necklace that somebody gave you that you're super grateful for. All that stuff. You're right. And the beauty is that the things that can't be taken away are your thoughts. And that's pretty much it. Everything else can be taken away. And so that's where it starts is, and to your point in the immature concept, I think she was absolutely taking an inventory. I think she was being, she was excited about what she has, but yeah, it can be taken away from her, and all of those things will, it'll make her re-understand what gratitude is, if she can. Darren, you got any thoughts?
No, that was on point, Sean. That was incredible. It was opened my eyes a little bit, and I appreciate that. But you're absolutely right. No, 100%. She was doing inventory, right? Minus maybe a couple things like her mom and her dad, right? Not saying that they couldn't be taken away, but yeah, it's what you're grateful for, I guess, that makes you a good person, a good human.
Explain that a little bit. I think that's a good point. Dive into it deeper. What do you got?
So it's kind of going off what Sean said, right? What makes you a good person? Are you grateful for the fact that you do have a good personality, say, or you're a loving, kind person to other people? Like all those things, all your personality traits. Are you grateful for that? Right. And I'm talking in a good sense, right? Like, because those are things that are going to build your legacy. Those are things that are going to keep your memories alive when the inevitable happens, right? So it's like Sean said, digging deeper to the roots of gratefulness. What are you grateful for? And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? About being grateful for yourself. What are you grateful for yourself? And then you can start diving into that with being grateful in those same instances with other people.
I like where we're going with this, and I think not only do you have to learn how to be grateful for your positive traits, for sure. I'm glad I'm very happy that I'm a good listener, but again, I had to build that. I had to learn how to do that properly. I'm very grateful for my ability to facilitate information, but I had to learn how to do that. These are all skills that I put onto it, but I also need to be grateful that I'm a consciously deep thinker. I also need to be grateful for the fact that I have a really great, vivid imagination that will take me in all kinds of places, right? So, like, you can go, it can help you get into very dark areas, but it can also help you get out of those areas. And all of those pieces, I think, are crucial to understanding who you are, which goes back to, Darren, what you're saying is you have to be grateful for all of you. It's not just that I am grateful for the good things in life or that help me do my everyday stuff. It's that I have to be grateful for all of me, all of the positives, all of the negatives, all of it, because that's who you are. That's all. That's what your life is all about. I love it. This is awesome.
No, I like what Sean said too, right? Whereas, I'm grateful for my truck, my house. I'm grateful for my horses and all this stuff, right? But that's all materialistic stuff, right? It's all stuff that, it's like you said, Sean, can be gone at the snap of a finger.
How
Right.
about this though? How about this? Let's see where this goes. Random thought. We're all gratitude machines, and let me define that. So, and by machine I mean like we can produce it or we can absorb it. We're gratitude factories, probably a better word. And I'm going to use you, Darren, as the example. From the start of the show, right away I noticed your hat and I was curious about it. And if I hadn't been curious, then we wouldn't have gone down that little moment where we're talking about your boy, Vern, right? And so you're the gratitude factory in that moment, Darren, because as you started talking about him, you could have taken it in all kinds of different directions. But then if I'm not interested in what you've got to say, your factory isn't producing for me. And so I've got to want to buy from your factory. Now, as you talked the talk about Vern, like, now I want to meet Vern. Now I want a hat. Now I want to know more about his farm. Now I want to know more about his life. Now I want to know how many hats he's made, etc., etc. You can see where I'm going. So my point is this. If we're gratitude factories, if we're a great factory, what we're doing is we're producing gratitude commodities out into the general population that they then get to hold up like a hat and influence others with that gratitude object. But the object is just an object unless someone gets to tell the story about Vern. Then it becomes the gratitude factory. And so all the hats in the world, your hat, my hat, Chance's hat, without a story, it's just a hat. But the story behind the hat is the gratitude factory. See where I'm going?
So what you're saying is that gratitude is a market economy and that we need to create goods and services so that we can, of gratitude, so that others can buy it. And you know what? I'm not hating that idea. I think it's a great idea if you really think about the things that we are truly grateful for. And I'm talking about things, the items that we get really grateful for, especially your hat, Darren. You said that was a present, right? Someone gave that to you. They went through the time to find the builder. They went through the time to find your head sizing and they did all the work ahead of time so that they could give it to you out of love or respect or whatever you want to use, whatever the emotion they were feeling. That factory was churning in their mind the whole time of like how grateful for you they were in that moment or throughout those moments of all that work. And so it gets churned into a hat. The hat gets given to you, and it's not so much the hat that is the thing that you're grateful for. It's all the work and the effort and the love that they're showing by doing that, if that makes sense.
Okay, so then I got to jump in just to make my last point, and then, you guys can go free, go crazy on it. But it is important to establish, I think, that, with a gratitude factory in place as the idea, the factory doesn't exist without the story. And so unless there's a story that makes you feel or makes you understand or more deeply connect to, I can see what just happened there. I now understand the hat. Now I'm really deeply grateful. So without that story, it is just a hat, just like every other moment in your life. And now, where I believe gratitude gets diluted or gets diminished is people will point at inanimate objects that they have no connection to. There is no story. There is no bearing in their life. I'm so grateful for that pencil. I'm so grateful for that thumbtack. I'm so grateful for that seat that I'll never sit in that I know nothing about. And so by non-connection to a moment, but then putting an overlayer of I'm grateful for everything, I think it dilutes the term. And so if I think of gratitude, to me, it means that there's a story behind the gratitude. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I dig it. Darren, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just so we're clear, I am grateful for my hat. And there is a story behind it. So, and I am grateful, very grateful for Vern Elliott for building this hat. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Sean, for sure, 100%. But yeah, there is a story behind this, and I am
Like it.
grateful for it.
So then,
just for the hat.
not just for the hat, absolutely. My thought I wrote down here, then the story is of our choosing, because I could be grateful for a pencil, and I can, if I create a story around it. And when I say that, I mean, like, if I understand how lucky I am to be able to reach in and grab a pencil that is a construction of one of millions, right? That has been through a factory. It's have a tree cut down, the graphics been mined, and it's only when I need it in that moment, for sure. But that story that I build is what creates the gratitude for it.
Can I throw in there?
Yeah, give her, Darren.
What if that pencil came from a special person? So not saying that I'm grateful for this pencil, but I'm grateful for this specific pencil, because going back to what Sean's saying, there's a story behind it. It came from a specific person, right? Which makes me truly, deeply grateful to still have it in my possession, because it goes back to potentially memories.
For sure, but I'm gonna hit you back now, because what happens when that pencil runs out? Like, you're gonna use it, right? That's how you. If I want to,
well, are you gonna use it though?
I would, absolutely.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a sec. So what if that pencil was made out of incredibly rare wood, and the lead, I'd spent my entire life shaving lead down to create the world's best pencil for you because I care for you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And on the day that I die, as I pass away, I hand you the pencil and say, it took me my entire life to make this pencil for you. I love you, bro. And then I die. You're just going to freaking break that out of your pencil case and like start scribbly doing a like stick man?
No.
Right.
No.
So,
but I will use
right.
it.
So hang on a sec. You may or may not use it. That isn't the point. The point that I'm making is you will decide whether you're going to use it or not based on the importance or the merit or the importance or the priority that you've given that pencil. If some scrub hands you a pencil, you chuck that in your pencil case, you forget it's in there because that meant nothing to you, that's an entirely different story than, like, that pencil is so rare and so meaningful that you're going to put it behind titanium enforced glass. So, going back to gratitude, that pencil can mean many things to many people, the same pencil. Some person would snap that in half and say, screw that guy, whereas another would mount it next to the Mona Lisa. And so what it means to the beholder is usually where the gratitude is like defined,
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. The piece that I am pushing back on is to put it away, in my mind, it's a diminishing piece of gratitude. It's a, hey, thanks for the gift. And then it gets put on a wall, or it gets looked at, or it gets whatever. Like, Darren, you could have taken that hat and put it on a hat holder and put it in a den, and great, cool, you have this hat, but it's not being used, it's not being appreciated, it's not being done. It's not. If you were to make me that kind of pencil, Sean, it wouldn't be so that I could then mount it on the wall. It's so that I could use it in a way that is it has to do with our relationship. If I was a big drawer, right?
Yes. So now we're to it. Irrespective of what you would do, Chance, or Darren would do, or I would do with that pencil moment, I think what is most important is that we would do what's right with it and what's right to us. And so I created the story. I'll tell you my story ending. If I was given that pencil, you're damn rights I would spend my entire life energy focused on the moment that I'm starting to draw things with that. If I was going to write a letter to someone with that pencil, it would have all of my life energy in that moment. I would be focused. I'd be respectful. I would be grateful for the fact that I'm being grateful in the moment. And so, the pencil moment is different for everyone. And I might get two pencils, and one would go next to the Mona Lisa, and the other one I would be making stick men, but they would both be equally as important. It would be driven by the feel, the vibe, the relationship, the whole thing, but there would be equal amounts of gratitude.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Well,
And
just
go ahead, Darren. What do you got?
just use the pencil until it's almost run out, and then just put it away. So you still got it. You get the
Yeah.
win-win.
Win-win. I like it.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I had my aunt tell me this once. I have a pocket watch that was given to me by my wife, and I love. It's a beautiful watch. I love wearing it. I like using it, but I think I scratched it. It's like third or fourth time I used it. But now, initially in that moment, I was like, oh no, I gotta like put it away and save it and only use it for special occasions, or maybe not, or just like display it or have it as like a fancy bauble on my countertop. But my aunt actually sat me down. She's like, well, what's the point of having a watch then? Like, your wife gave that to you to tell the time for you to actually manage. So like, that's why she gave it to you. So because you like using pocket watches. And I was like, you know what? That's absolutely right. And if it gets scratches or it gets dings or it gets those things, that's through depending on how I manage it. Like if I'm a goof and I start swinging it around and bashing off stuff, that's me not having gratitude for the moment. But as I use it in a manner which reflects why it was given to me, if it takes wear during that, which it should, then that's part of the love. That's part of the gratitude for the moment, right? A good hat isn't one that's perfect. A good hat is one that has been worn. It's been in the sun. It's been in the rain. It's been in the things, and it's been taken care of through those things. So I think that's a piece of it. I think a lot of times we put stuff away thinking, oh, well, I got to save it for that perfect time that never shows up, even though it was given to you in a sense of use and that like, hey, I want you to enjoy this thing. Now we are just at about an hour here, and I just want to say thanks because Darren, man, this has been awesome. Sean, great conversation. Couple comments to finish us off with here. I missed one earlier. Magnus Thornton jumped in on the Instagram side, said, kill it, Darren. You're in good hands with the boys. And then Corbin Bobby says, and reaching to someone you trust can give you a ladder to get out of the deep rabbit hole. That's another piece of that is making sure that we have good crews around us. Absuk jumped in here, said, just jumped in within 30 seconds without knowing the topic. Grit, eudaimonia pursuit, and mindfulness were addressed through the flow by Sean and the panel. Cheers for the elevation, gang. I like it. Corbin Bobby says, too young to rationalize that way, but it's a good start at such a young age. I don't think that you're ever too old to do anything. And Paradoxy Official says, non-attachment impermanence, which is, I think, a beautiful thing when you really dive into it. And last one, Catherine Hirschfeld jumped in and said, I'm grateful for today because my dog Lucy and I are going to a local school to read with third graders. Beautiful. I love it. Any final thoughts? Anything at all still bubbling around in the back of our brain? Darren, anything at all?
No, I'll finish off just by saying I'm grateful, truly grateful for Sean and Chance for you guys inviting me onto this podcast, and I had a really good time and I learned a lot. So appreciate you.
It's truly our pleasure. I love chatting with cool people. Sean, any final thoughts?
I guess my final thought is this. It's Darren's first show with us, and he'll be on again. And I'm grateful for that because the interesting thing about our show is you just never know. First-time guests, you just never know which way it's going to go. And it is a challenging seat to sit in as a first-timer in a live podcast. And so thank you for managing it well, Darren, and thanks for being cool as hell, and appreciate you coming in here with a great attitude and adding to the conversation in a way that's got me thinking. So I'll round it up by saying I'm just happy to be here, hanging with the guys and sharing the wisdom, receiving it and giving it, and enjoying our best lives.
Absolutely. I am truly grateful for the community that we've built, because things like this don't happen very often, I think, in regular life, to be able to sit down with numerous people on multiple platforms, all engaging in a discussion about gratitude. And I am just incredibly grateful for this moment and this podcast. So thanks, everybody. And as we all continue to learn, build, and grow, we'll see you next week. Jimo. Thanks, everybody, for watching and being part of the collective. If this has sparked any thoughts or resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. We'll see you all next time.